Let's do it. All right, I'm making some noise so the camera's looking at me. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Three Schooners. My name's Isaac.
And my name is David.
My name is JJ. And this week, ladies and gentlemen, we have got a very special guest.
Some say one of the most specialist. I made them sound stupid.
I think you might be one of the most specialist, Dave.
Yeah,
but
you're a bit special, Davey.
It is one half of Mashd'n'Kutcher, Mr. Matt. How are you?
Hello, boys. How are you? And thank you for. I'm excited to finally be on the podcast. It's a big thing. This is good.
When JJ said, "Oh, Matt wants to come on the podcast," we were like, "What? Sorry, what?" He was like, "Yeah."
Because initially Dave wasn't on this podcast because he's a busy boy and he's about to move to another state. And
well, I don't know if JJ's told you guys, but a bit of backstory is that the very first time we ever went to Glasgow, the first thing that JJ did was get us on a podcast. So I'm well accustomed to JJ's podcast.
Oh,
we've done
it's like full circle now.
Full circle. But anyway,
about it.
Before we get into finding out about Matt and all that, there's one thing that we have to do first. Matt, would you like to say the line?
Say the line.
Say the line.
What's the line? You haven't told me what the line is.
It's the one from that song.
From the song.
Yeah. Get on the beers. Get on the beers.
Yeah. Do we do the dance now? Yeah, dance.
Rapidly get on the beers. That's your civic duty. That's what's most important. And that's what must be done. Beers. Get on the beers. And that's what must be done.
Because that's our theme tune, you know, the song that you made.
Yeah. Well, I didn't make it. It kind of made itself. I didn't really make it, but.
Okay, so we're back now. So that was famously our theme tune, but also more famously a song that you put together that featured. Well, you tell the. Oh wait!
I put it together in your living room. To be honest,
you did put it together in my living room, and we'll get on to that. In fact, wait a little minute here, Isaac. What beer have you got this week?
Well, I thought I'd mix it up this week, and I thought that I would go south of somewhere.
Oh my God.
It's all I had in the fridge.
You literally turned it into JJ. Oh, you just get that thing.
Yeah, but at least he gets a beer that he enjoys.
You and I are not speaking.
Of the worst beer ever.
I'm surprised that bottle wasn't smashed to pieces during the earthquake, to be honest.
We were literally just discussing that. Anyone watching, Isaac's room is a complete mess. Which I was saying is, it's a very good representation of your life at the minute.
I like it.
Yeah. So you've got to say for somewhere. Dave, what have you got?
I have got, I'm the only person who's fucking mixing it up anymore. You're fucking useless. Do a podcast where we drink different beers and you just keep getting the same beers.
No one said we were drinking different beers. We said we were drinking beer.
It makes us look sophisticated.
There's nothing sophisticated about any of us.
I have got Mountain Goat, but I have gone for normally I'll go for pale steam ale, which I don't fully understand, but I've gone for pale ale this time. So I'm going to talk into that bad boy.
Now, Dave, you sent me a video last night. What was that video of? What were you doing?
Where's this going?
I remember this.
I'd like to remember this as well.
Do you not remember?
Was I drunk at the time?
Yeah.
I was drunk at the time.
What did you do, Dave?
I had a Desperado in my hand.
And you were spitting it out, saying it was yucky.
No, I drank it and I looked like I really enjoyed it and then spat it out mid-video.
You bastard. Anyway, Matt, I can see that you're destroying your mic there.
Yeah, I'm not having much fun with this.
What are you drinking today?
Well, you requested that I needed to have alcohol on the show, even though I insisted that I didn't want to. So I've put a bottle of Grey Goose over there just in the shot, but I'm not planning on drinking it. But I do have the remnants of an iced coffee here. Well, actually, so it's not an iced coffee. What it is, it's a poor man's iced coffee. So I got hungry last night at about 2 a.m. and I ordered a sundae from McDonald's on Uber Eats. That's the only thing I ordered. The sundae arrived. I didn't eat it. I left it in the freezer. So I put about this much instant coffee in the bottom of this cup with just water, and then I just scooped some of that sundae in and stirred it around.
That is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard in my life.
That doesn't sound great.
I know Isaac.
Hello.
When you get them off now, this is really anticlimactic. Get them off.
Not even drinking beer.
This is
what are you drinking, JJ? What are you drinking?
I've got a Crown Lager this week, boys. And I'll tell you as for why. There's a reason that I'm not drinking a Desperado this week. I'm just too poor to keep buying them at the moment. I did go over to there's a new Woolworths across the road from me, which means that I can literally buy a beer within 3 minutes of getting out of my bed.
Is there a reason why there's such a surcharge on Despies in Australia?
They're just too good. Really that's the problem.
It's the good tax.
Nah. I don't think they want them in the country. So I've
got the mute button. Remember, Dave? I have the mute button. They're just really spenny. But I'm gonna open one just now. Hopefully.
Oh, you're actually doing a Crown.
Yeah, I'm actually doing a Crown.
He's not doing the same joke he does every week.
I'm not doing the same joke.
Let me actually hang on. I'll see if I have anything alcoholic in the fridge at all.
Oh yes,
yeah,
getting one,
and that's called peer pressure. So this podcast go well. Our guest has already walked off in the first 5 minutes.
Dave, do you want to explain why you look like you're sitting in what looks like a padded room?
I am sitting cross-legged for however long this goes on, and it's probably not going to be enjoyable. But however, I am sitting on my bed, mine and Elisa's bed, because we are moving to Queensland in a few days, and we did an open house, and so basically we had all our furniture on sale and everything because we're just going to buy it when we get up there. And this one guy came round at like 10 o'clock in the morning and was like, yeah, I'll buy it all. So
did he take the TV?
No, he hasn't got. I'm saving the TV for you. But he literally bought everything. So that morning we went out. We were going out on a lad's day out, which we had on a Saturday. So I left my apartment with furniture in it. I came home real pissed with no furniture. I was like, "What is going on?"
Have we been robbed?
Nothing left. Nothing left.
So, Matt, have you got a drink now? What have you got?
I do. I have a personal favorite actually. It's a Brookvale Union ginger beer.
Ooh.
Fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, union is one of those words that I find very difficult to say. Don't know why.
You
no reason for it.
Well there.
Union killed it. I'm so good. Anyway, cheers, boys.
Cheers.
I need this beer so badly.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers. I learned the word gregarious the other day and just kept saying it.
What does it mean?
I've forgotten. It means, it's basically me. I'm gregarious, like fun-loving and sociable. And
so
this little bad boy is 8%, by the way.
Well, it's going to be flying.
That's anyway. So a few minutes ago, probably 10 minutes ago now, we heard "Get on the Beers," which has became a bit of an anthem over the last, what seems like an eternity during lockdown. It is our theme tune, and the guy that made it again in my living room, and his name is Matthew, and we've got him here. So Matt,
hello.
Talk to us. What
would you like to know?
It's what you do on a podcast. You talk for a bit. It's great.
Who are you?
Yeah.
Well, so I am first and foremost a friend of John Gardner's, and the song's really weird, man. It's
Do you not want to mention what group you're in or anything like that?
Okay, so I'm in a duo called Mashd'n'Kutcher, and we play electronic music and we play instruments, and we kind of try and do both at the same time and have a bit of fun with it. And there wasn't much fun this year because everybody got told there was no fun, so we didn't have any fun. And so there wasn't any shows to play, and there wasn't any planes to fly on. But the only thing there was television inside your house. And the only person on the television was your premier. So
for people that aren't from Australia, explain what a premier is.
So a premier is basically a man who locks down a whole city until everybody gets really oppressed, and then they come back out again. So every state in Australia has a leader, and with probably similar to what is in. I guess in Europe, like the way that each country is handled separately with coronavirus, each state in Australia is handled separately with coronavirus. So Melbourne's premier decided to do a press conference where he used the the line "get on the beers," and it's interesting because in Australia, like you say, "get on the piss," you say "crack a beer," "crack a cold one," "crack a tinny," "crack a frothy." There's a lot of things you might say, but I don't think anyone's ever used the expression "get on the beers" specifically before. So it's a very new thing, excuse me, for all of us to hear. And so it turned into a bit of a joke, turned into a song, and it ended up being a song. So I sampled it and remixed it. Sat in JJ's living room with him and said, look, I've got to stick this thing on Spotify. So I kind of made sure everything was redlining and was as distorted as possible, and then uploaded it to Spotify. And it's started as a bit of a joke, but it's given people something to have a laugh about and something to have a bit of joy with while they've been locked down. And it's been a bit of fun.
Which is the thing, really, because you did that, and like you're saying, everyone was locked away in their houses. And I just remember you releasing it as like, you do these pretty cool videos, and you released this as a video on your Facebook page. Before you know it, people were putting it in TikToks, and it was just starting to go viral.
It just snowballed, didn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty mental. Just from, I think
it's just a bit of fun. And I think, from our end, being in the music industry as musicians, like all of us were sitting there thinking, great, but we've got no shows. It's very tricky to write music, especially if you write club music, because there's no clubs to go to. So we're all sort of sitting there twiddling our thumbs and wondering what we do. And so we just did it as a bit of fun. And I think people got that message, which was that let's have a bit of fun. Like, we're all stuck in this thing together. We're all at home. We're all bored. So we made a fun song. People made fun dances to it. People were definitely getting on the beers at home, which I think was a very integral part of it, was that, people were still drinking at home. So they were still trying to have a bit of a party and, when they could, have 2 or 3 mates over and kind of keep the social aspect up. So, the other thing too, which kind of accidentally, I think, helped it, is that a lot of other club producers and DJs stopped making music. So there wasn't much music going around. So, I know a lot of our friends in the industry and stuff, sort of have been writing music but haven't released any because it's very difficult to when clubs and things aren't open. So I guess we put out a song as well when not many people were, which, kind of gave it a bit more room to breathe.
It certainly stuck on. For example, I'm wearing a T-shirt just now that says "Get on the beers with Dan Ambrose." That isn't one of your T-shirts, but it just goes to show that other people were making them and things like that. And
Oh God, I was just going to say, for me, like the bit where I realised that, not only was it getting viral, but wasn't Dan Andrews himself interviewed about it? When he
has been a few times, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I think the thing was, so the format, for those who maybe don't know or aren't in Australia, so the format was the Premier of Victoria would come on our TV screens once a day, probably around 11 a.m.
It got really sticky.
Yeah. And so basically, basically every day the Premier has to come on the television and give a press conference and tell people, how many deaths there have been from coronavirus, how many active cases there are, how many new cases, blah, 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 blah. And so every day in that press conference, he would report those stats, and he would also give an update on the position of the lockdown and comment and answer press questions and this and that. So, every day that he would come on the screens would be an opportunity for him to say something interesting to add as another soundbite to the song. So instead of making a new song every time, it kind of just became about, well, let's just keep Get on the Beers as the song, but every time he says something quirky, we can kind of add it to the song.
Yeah.
Which, it's interesting. It's someone actually commented, which we had a good laugh about on one of the videos, that dairy farmers would be proud of how much we've milked this song over 6 months. I tend to agree with that. That's a good
call.
That's amazing. But yeah, I mean, it's gained so much traction, Matt, that you are currently, in the 5th favourite to be Triple J's Hottest 100 this year?
So again, for people maybe outside Australia, so in Australia, our sort of major Australian music-focused radio station is called Triple J. And every year people vote for the top 100 songs in the country. And it's kind of taken on a bit of a cult following, and people seem to be voting for it. So it's another weird thing that's happened this year.
Wasn't last year? Last year was Fisher losing it, came in at number 2. Ocean Eye, I think was number 1. And you're sitting where? 50?
Bad Guy, was it not? It was number 1.
Am I thinking the year before?
Yeah, you get the year before.
Yeah. Okay.
What's Matt running for? What's he done?
It's pretty.
So I've got one of those washing machines that when it finishes the load, it beeps continuously until you turn it off.
So do I.
Until you turn it off or you go insane and blow your brains out. And then you never have to do washing again.
When, someone else has to wash up a lot of blood. But when Get On The Beers initially debuted on the Triple J's Hottest 100, like, first of all, how do you get nominated for that? What happens?
I don't know. That's a really good question.
I think any song that's played on Triple J for the year is eligible, to my understanding.
Okay.
So even if it's just once, then it goes on as a possible.
Had you been eligible before, Matt? Were you aware?
I mean, I think we've had our music played on Triple J before, but it's never come up. So the first day that voting was open, I opened Instagram and there was just hundreds of people tagging us in their vote choices. So I was like, okay, I guess we're doing this.
I know someone in Canada who's Aussie, but she's living in Canada for the last 3 years. And even she did it. She was like, for all my brothers and sisters in Victoria, I'm adding this to the vote.
That's the thing. And you know what, exactly what you just said, like for people in Victoria, like that's the thing is like, I say this in the most modest way. This song's not about us. This song's just something fun we did. It's really about all the people that enjoyed it. You know, I know that sounds a bit cliche, but like the song's really got less to do with us than you think. It's more about everyone else who had a good time with it, I guess.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it. Going back to the betting side of it now, when you first appeared on even the options to be on Triple J's Top 100, the odds of
$51, I believe.
$51, 51 to 1 was the odds. So I put $20 on you, which means
Smart man.
If it comes in, I get $1,040 back, something like that.
Odds today are at $6, so you're doing it right so far.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Which shows how serious it's started.
It's the most serious thing to happen all year.
Yeah.
Aside from that massive earthquake just before the podcast.
Yeah. Anyone who's listening and not watching is missing out, I think.
I had like our friend Gary. I think you've met Gary probably, Isaac, from back in Glasgow. Shout out to Gary. He sent me money to put a bet on for you guys to win. In the space of the money getting sent from his account to arrive in mine, it went from 31 to 1 odds all the way down. I think it got to 15 by the time it arrived in my account.
Here's the good part about it, right, is in Australia, and this is where I believe that we have this unique bond with Glaswegians, is we are all about a bit of tomfoolery, like putting witches' hats on men on horses and these sorts of things. We like a bit of a laugh and a bit of a shenanigan. And so I think not only are people voting for it because they like the song, but people are also voting for it just to be like let's stick it on. You know, wouldn't it be hilarious if that actually topped the thing?
Yeah.
So it's kind of got that working.
Yeah, and that has happened. I mean, in the UK, that's happened before. I think like the Christmas number 1, like 2 years ago, was a song about fucking pasties or something like that, or sausage rolls. I was like, left it and I was reading back over. It's like, and Christmas number 1 is a song about sausage rolls. I was like, that country is going to shit. It's going to shit, I tell you.
That's when we decided it was going to shit. Nothing else happened.
Brexit, never heard of it, mate.
It would be a very, very Aussie thing if a song about beer topped a chart. That would be
absolutely. And I think, you know what, I've it's got the Three Schooners stamp of approval. Obviously.
Love
that.
If anyone hasn't voted for it yet, you don't even have to be in Australia. Just go on the Triple J Hottest 100 website. I'm sure you can type it into Google. Do us a favor though. Only vote for Get On The Beers, because therefore no one else is getting a vote. Okay, I want my $1,000, bitches.
I see. I thought I was going to say that's really rude, but then I understand now why you said that.
I think
he's loading it.
I think we should link it on we'll link it on our Instagram.
In the show notes.
Yeah.
Every time.
But it's
every time.
yeah, the show notes and on our Instagram, but it's only our mothers and girlfriends who follow us on.
Yeah. I don't know if Matt knows this, but every single episode that goes up on YouTube and on Spotify and things like that, Get on the Beers is linked to Spotify. Like the Spotify link for the song is
So
there.
basically, you guys are all entitled to a percentage of the Spotify royalties.
That's it, mate. That's it. Looking forward to our $4. That's it.
$4 is a
maybe
bit
you'll be able to afford those Desperados one day.
And
With the royalties.
that's not saying that Matt didn't get a lot of plays. That is saying that Spotify doesn't pay a lot of money. That's all I'm saying about that. So how has life treated you? Because you were living down in Victoria next to me, you know.
Was.
We had a cuddle every few nights. It was lovely.
We did.
Sorry, what?
Then, Dave, listen.
What about?
I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was the only one.
Then the coronavirus hit, and you, I think, might have been the luckiest man in all of Australia, because you literally called it to, because no one knew when we were getting locked down. We knew it was going to happen, but you called it to the day for both Victoria and New South Wales to get into.
Yeah, I was very lucky. I did everything by the book, and I did everything properly, and I got a COVID test in Victoria to make sure I was all good, and then I wanted to. That's the thing. I didn't sort of leave Victoria for a break, trying to evade lockdown and then come back. Like, I was permanently moving to Queensland. So that's the thing to keep in mind, I guess, is if you are permanently moving to another state, it's pretty straightforward to do. But timing wise, I was quite lucky, because when I chose to do that, it was a matter of days before Victoria got locked down. So I think I was just very lucky with, like you said, the timing of it. And I decided within sort of 24 hours that there was a pretty high chance of it happening. I think we could all kind of feel it coming. So I, spent the money and put all my things on a truck and sent them to Queensland and got in my car and did the drive.
Yeah, I remember JJ saying that to me. He was like, I think Matt's thinking of leaving. I was like, that'd be shit if Matt went. And then like a day or two later, I was like, how's Matt getting on with his decision? He was like, oh yeah, he's gone. I was like, what?
Yeah. No, I think that's the thing. The agency Lucky, who looks after all our bookings and stuff, they were chatting to us, and I think that the big red flag for us is we noticed that the AFL was relocating all their football teams, and we're sitting there thinking, right, okay, they obviously want to continue their season playing football. They're moving all their teams. Something's going down here. So I guess if there was any hope of us having, potentially any shows at all, that. And for those who don't know, me and Adam are both in a duo. So he's already living in Queensland and I was living by myself in Victoria. So had I stayed in Victoria, it just would have made it impossible for us to link up. So the smart move was for me to move to Queensland, which I did. I called up my folks and said, what do you think? And they were like, yeah, if you think it's the right thing to do it. And I'm pretty sure I called a removal company at about 4 p.m. in the afternoon. I went to Super Cheap, put new oil in the car, and then the next morning I left. So I just literally the meaning of sending it. Just fucking sent it.
And then that's it. And then we were like, because how hard did Queensland get hit with the lockdowns? They got what, a bit of one, didn't they?
Well, those guys only got to start dancing again last week. We got to dance before they did.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Is that right?
Yeah.
They couldn't do outdoor.
That being said, though, we had by the time I got to Queensland, I think we'd already had about 2 months of COVID-free, like 0 new cases. So Queensland was very much already on the uphill. For some strange reason, our Premier decided to really leave the no dancing rule right till the very end. I don't know why. A lot of people were pissed off about that. But, hospitality and everything has been very much open here for probably 3 months.
But that is like, fine, we'll just play musical chairs if it's going to be that way.
Yeah, look, honestly, and this is as of 5 days ago, I was in a venue with some friends and there was a security guard walking around with a flashlight and a laminated sign which said strictly no dancing. And it's weird to see. Hopefully we never have to see that again.
Yeah.
Until someone in quarantine again.
Yeah.
It's all good stuff. I think I'm so stoked to see, you guys and my other friends in Melbourne all doing good things, and things look good here. So fingers crossed, the summer in Australia, we are on.
I think what I was having this chat with one of our previous guests, Ashley Nichols, and I think you're going to have, like, when everything's eased off and you get international borders opening up, I think you're going to have, like, fucking 3 summers in a row. Everyone's just going to come back. The people who were forced to go home, they're going to try and come back, and everyone's just going to send it. I mean, even those first 2 weeks out of lockdown, from working in a hospitality point of view, those first 2 weeks out of Victoria lockdown were crazy. People would come in and be like, they get a 2-hour sitting, and they would absolutely send it in those 2 hours. Then they go to another bar and send it in that bar for 2 hours. People are thirsty to have a good time. Really.
That's it. And I think something a lot of people also might overlook too is, even though hospitality and entertainment might be coming back in Australia, tourism, and whether it's just general tourism, backpacking, whatnot, like that's a major part of Australia's hospitality economy.
Absolutely.
All the way from the north tip all the way down to Tassie. And it's, we're not going to have that next year probably at all, if not the year after. So it's very interesting because there's so many venues which heavily rely, especially up in places like North Queensland, of the backpacking industry and this and that. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that
it's something
works.
Like even backpackers, like I think the agricultural industry in Australia, they did something like a few months ago. It was an article and it was like 26,000 backpackers are needed, because that's what the gap that's been left because they've all gone home. It's just 26,000 workers. It's like, no worries, agricultural industry. Hope you're doing okay there. You were having it rough before. It's getting even worse for you. It's just like, it's not great.
I'm not speaking on behalf of all Aussies, but there's some Aussies who probably are pretty reluctant to go and pick fruit and do things like that. So they may just have to get off their asses and deal with it.
True. But that isn't the only industry that really had a hard time. Like the music industry had a rough time during that.
And it's almost like, there wasn't a lot of support for the music industry in Australia, and I'm seeing it back in England as well. There's not been much support for the music scene back in England.
The arts in general.
Yeah, and like they create a fuck ton of revenue as well.
It was an interesting time because I think just before COVID, the bushfires in Australia was sort of the biggest talking point. And there were tons of us in different parts, whether you were DJs or singers or bands who did heaps of free charity concerts for the bushfires, which we're all super happy to do. But then the COVID kind of hit, and off the back of that, then we all sort of lost the income we would have had anyway. So it was a bit weird. But look, I think things are looking promising. I can only sort of speak on what we're doing, but I'm sure that's a reflection across the board. I'm seeing lots of small and middle-sized festivals and lineups popping up. We've started to get some show bookings coming in for the new year, which is good, and seeing lots of our peers with the same. So
let's... Oh, go on, Joe.
And so talking about New Year, what have you got going on?
We're coming back to Victoria. We are playing New Year's Eve. We will be getting on the beers in Melbourne, which is awesome.
Literally one day after I leave, you fucker.
No, well, okay. So I'm gonna come in a couple of days early. So I will see you. I'll see you then.
So wait, you're playing on the 22nd? No, sorry.
No, New Year's Eve, 31st.
Sorry, no. But what day are you hoping to come?
I'll probably come on like the 29th.
Yeah, I won't.
That's way after you go. Yeah,
way after. See you, mate. Nice knowing you. Have a good time.
We do.
For you in Queensland.
We play shows up in Townsville probably 4 or 5 times a year. So I mean, just a quick
really?
Across to Maggie there, and I'll see.
Maybe Dave, you can organise a full moon headliner. Such as.
Well, this is the thing. I want to go into that. You've played at Magnetic Island, haven't you?
Yeah. We've played the full moon party probably few years. We've done a few events there, and yeah, Maggie's awesome. Like, it's a great crowd. It's a good mix of locals and tourists, and it's a vibe. So I have no doubt 100% that I will see you there for shows in some capacity.
Well, you will see me, but I'll be working, so I could just wave to you from the bar.
It's all right.
Look at him up on the stage having fun. I know that guy. I know him.
Mate, I'm actually
we're friends. Yeah, he was
actually stoked for you to go up there.
I don't know if anyone's noticed, but Isaac has said nothing throughout this whole podcast because he's
a little bit
hungover from
I'm
yesterday.
fucking dying. Yeah,
He's literally been through like a
question for when I was ready to ask it. Do you have any plans to get Dan Andrews involved some way on a show,
maybe.
like a guest appearance or anything?
If he's keen to, I suppose. I don't know. Like, do you think he's not got more important shit to be doing?
Nah.
I mean, he should, but he does he? I don't know. He's too busy fucking coming in JJ's mouth and JJ's sucking him off all the time.
He was like, lockdown Victoria for 8 months, and that kind of takes a weight off. I don't have to do visits or anything.
I mean, look,
guest appearances, don't have to do charity fundraisers. There we go.
I'm not against it, but I suspect someone who's supposed to be running a state has probably got more important things to do than hang out with a couple of DJs. But have a stretch there, Dave. Jesus.
I know. Well, this is it's not great. This is why I don't do yoga. Fucking,
You're right.
Fucked. Well, I'm sitting cross-legged on my bed, and the feeling in my left leg went about 20 minutes ago. So yeah.
Nah, look, I mean, and look, I'm also open to, boys, because here's the thing, and this is where I might call on your help and possibly the help of some of the listeners. So we've this Get on the Beers thing. So it's going in this Hot 100 competition, and I mean, look, we're in it now, so it might as well try and get as high as it can. What's some other ideas of how we could reinvent this song to get it to climb that chart? Because I'm absolutely shit out of ideas because I've exhausted my brain of them for 8 months.
Okay, right. Here's some ideas, and you've not got the opportunity to say no to them because that's just what's going to happen now. Okay, you're going to pick someone who votes for you on your Instagram. So what they need to do is vote for you, tag you in the picture that they'll post to Instagram. And for that, you will play a gig at their house. There you go. You're doing that now. Secondly,
not against it. That's good.
I think that's a great idea.
And secondly, the winner is JJ Garner from Melbourne.
Weirdly, it's Crown Casino. What an odd thing. I just said that because I can see Crown from my house. So now everyone knows where I live. What about...
Yeah, because that really narrows it down in an area where you're surrounded by skyscrapers.
Fair play, mate. Yep. What about if someone votes for Get on the Beers and tags the Three Schooners and Mashd'n'Kutcher? Dave will give them one free night stay on Magnetic Island. Can't get out of it now. I've said it. It's part of the podcast. Okay.
Why do we do this?
And Isaac will show you how to survive an earthquake for free. Also accumulate a lot of alcohol somehow.
It's funny watching these four squares because it's like JJ's in a metropolitan area. It's like Isaac's in the middle of Vietnam. It's just been through a blast. And then we look like we're all in different countries.
Looks like I'm in a mental asylum. It's a sound padded room. I want to speak to my internet friends. Yeah, sure, they're your friends. You have lots of friends, Dave.
And how does that make you feel, Dave?
Yeah.
I honestly...
It keeps the voices at bay.
Given the fact that you had zero time to prepare for that, I'm quite impressed with those ideas. I think they're actually quite good.
I don't think they're bad ideas.
If only you could come up with ideas like that for our podcast, maybe, yeah.
So here's the thing, right? So here's what's going to happen.
And then we just didn't do anything.
I've pissed them off. There he goes.
Fun fact, actually. So you can't, the rules of the Hottest 100 voting are actually quite strict. You can't have any incentive for people to vote. You can't run a competition. I know it's a very different kettle of fish, but so Taylor Swift was kicked out of the Hottest 100 2 years ago because she had an online competition like it was, what was it called? It was something like hashtag T Swift for number one or something. There was some hashtag with it. And there were companies like KFC and other entities getting involved to help her get it. So if you run any sort of competition, you actually can't, unfortunately.
So basically what we just said.
What if we... No, wait. We run a competition for Matt. He's not technically doing it. And it's us just supporting a friend.
He cannot confirm or deny.
Is that against the rules?
If you get us kicked out of the 100, it might be the Two Schooners podcast.
JJ's been dead whilst the washing machine keeps playing.
Oh, by the way, I actually got a question for you guys. I was thinking about this the other day. So, a question about the UK. So in Australia, you've got a pot a schooner, and a pint. And a pint
Right.
is the biggest of the three. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
But am I also correct in saying that in the UK you don't have schooners?
No, we don't. So you have a pint and what we call a half, which is pretty much like a pot.
So
Well,
why
we
don't you
don't-
have schooners? That I don't understand.
Because
So there's a reason. Isaac, do you want to explain why schooners exist?
Schooners only exist because it's fucking hot in Queensland. And by the end of the fucking pint, it's hot and warm and gross. So they made schooners to kind of.
There you go.
That's
Yeah.
why we're called.
So is it
free
because the
schooners,
glass
not the
is
free
thinner?
pots.
It doesn't.
It holds less liquid.
You just drink it faster. That's all.
But no one really wants a pot because you just look like a bit of an
well-
idiot with a pot.
I've never seen anyone in the UK go, "Can I get a half pint?"
No, right. So just before I left, and Andrew Mackay, if you're listening, which you're probably not, I went on a night out with him and he was like, yeah, I only order halves, which is AKA a pot. And I was like, he was like, it's so much cheaper. But then he'd drink double the amount to get to a level. I was like, mate, you're just spending more money. This doesn't actually, you might as well just get a pint. This does not actually make any sense. And he's like, no, it's a great idea, isn't it? I was like, no, it's the worst idea ever.
This is terrible.
Yeah, but he's in the Marines now, protecting our country. So you know, if
Please make
he's
better
making sure
anti-terrorist force, and there was like this man drinks pots.
Did you see that the UK is seriously contemplating sending out the Navy to make sure that the French don't fish in the UK waters? They're literally protecting fish.
Yeah, but I think there's
They won't
I
feed
think,
kids. Cool.
Now there's stuff like that happens all the time. Like my dad, I was mentioning in the previous podcast, he used to work for the RAF, and he was a radar technician. He'd get flown over to the Falkland Isles, I think it was, and like, is it Argentina who wanted the Falkland Isles? And they'll fly their planes.
I mean, have you ever seen where the Falkland Islands are?
Yeah.
It's Argentina.
Yeah, but
it's messed up that the UK has them.
They'll fly their planes super close and then just try and they're always poking. I mean, the French are poking for fish. The Argentinians are just poking, you know. But
Just poking. Just poking.
Sorry, Dave.
every country does something a bit.
I mean, what was Australia's version of that? The
Australia's
emu,
version of what?
the war of the emus.
They just forget about Tasmania.
Yeah, that kind of it does drop off the map a little bit.
There's a whole thing about Tasmania not appearing in maps, though, isn't there? Or is it New Zealand not appearing in maps?
I thought you were
Give
going
me 5 seconds. Talk amongst yourselves.
There was massive outrage last year, I remember, because Woolworths, which if you listen in the UK is like Tesco or whatever, and they did like around Australia Day, they did like little Aussie flags and stuff like that, and they missed Tasmania off it.
I'd be more concerned about the rate of interfamily marriage in Tasmania than the location.
And if you listen from Tasmania, we don't condone Matt. He's had a few vodkas and a ginger beer, so he's a bit loose right now.
So there's a trend of maps just not including New Zealand. It just doesn't exist.
Does that mean half as many people turn up to their Christmas lunch? Because like if your sister's your wife as well, then the amount of people surely would be less.
Yeah, you got to cater for less. You got more spend per head, and then they drink more, and then they fuck their cousins.
Yeah, but the mutation makes them hungrier, so it's still the same amount of food. They've got 3 bellies, so yeah, they eat a lot down in.
I don't actually know if Tasmania was part of any. Were they part of a lockdown? Did they get locked down? Do they have cases?
They've always been in a lockdown. Matt.
Have you done a gig in Tasmania? That's what I want to know.
We have. We've
Not anymore.
Nope. We've probably played in Tassie maybe once or twice a year. It's not very often, but they're an okay
What's your favourite Tassie venue?
Sydney. Sorry, Melbourne. Look, they're okay. They're all right. They're an okay bunch. They're a little bit.
Okay, right. Better question. What is your favourite venue in all of Australia?
That's a tricky one. That is a tricky one. I don't know.
Okay. Do you want me to come back to Australia and we'll go other countries first, or we'll go continents?
Personally, I'm pretty biased to Boots House in Germany. That's my favourite. That's my favourite. I can't
You do
really
like
top
that. I've seen a few good videos of you. Yeah.
I do.
What's your favourite in North America?
I really like playing in Omnia in San Diego. That's cool. Omnia is a chain which is in, I believe there's an Omnia in Vegas, New York, San Diego, and Bali, and like one more. They're quite good.
I had a very good time with you in 11 and in Miami. That was a good night.
That was good. If anyone watching the podcast does not know 11 in Miami, Google it and just hit images and you'll speak for itself.
Hey, me and Isaac always up for traveling as well to a gig.
Yeah, so if anyone's ever wanting to go to Magnetic Island
or Vietnam, down the bottom.
He's a little bit quiet down there. You all right, Isaac?
I'm fine. That's great.
He's been through a natural disaster. Give him a break.
Right. You've been on tours. You've been to awesome places. Do you have like one story that you are allowed to say that's like your biggest highlight in your career?
I like how you say allowed to say and highlight as if there's going to be something very taboo that would I'm gonna take you back to 11 in Miami again, where we lost you on a rooftop.
Oh, what, like the hangover?
No, like actually lost them.
Yeah, I mean that was a pretty it's a pretty wild night. We crossed paths with JJ and Yaz in Miami, and we played a show at 11, which is I'm pretty sure. I wouldn't say that's a highlight. I'm just saying we lost you. That's all. It's a pretty big highlight. I don't remember much of that morning, to be honest. I wish I knew where I went because I don't really know.
All I remember is so explain what 11 is, first of all.
So 11, from my understanding, is, if not one of the biggest, is the biggest strip club in North America. It's definitely probably the most well-known. It's different to your average strip club in the sense that it's also like a large-scale nightclub. The main room and main area holds thousands of people. And you sort of walk in and you come in on this mezzanine and you look down and there's one main stripper pole and there are just hundreds and hundreds of girls and thousands of people. And it's a strip club which has its own childcare center for the girls built in. It's got all sorts of things happening. And the headline DJs usually play at 5 or 6 a.m. And the venue, I think, opens 9 p.m. and trades until probably 2 p.m. in the afternoon.
So how do I get a job? They have a childcare centre for the strippers.
Yeah, you know.
I had never, ever been to a strip club before being there, right? And first of all, I walk in with Yasmin, who's my missus, and there's just naked girls everywhere. And Yasmin is like so excited by this. She's like, oh my God, I'm going to go and get so many $1 bills right now. You wait here. I'm not joking. She got a lot of $1 bills. What I was very amazed about was the fact that we got taken to this nice little VIP bit with Matt. We got to sit and chill. And you know how those bottles of Grey Goose that are like maybe 4 or 5 feet tall?
Oh,
like
Magnums.
No, they're bigger, man. They're huge. And I just presumed that they were all for show. I didn't. Like, I thought they were filled with water. I didn't think, surely these aren't real. I remember very clearly, because after this, it gets a bit messy. 2 naked girls coming up and asking if I wanted a drink. And I was like, yes, I do. And pouring this massive bottle, they poured me 1 drink out of it, put the cork back on it, and walked away. And another one appeared, a fresh one that they opened up for the next drink. And I was like, what the hell is going on?
So wait. They were opening brand new bottles just to pour 1 serving.
1 drink and they left after that. Yeah.
What?
Mental. But yeah, we lost Matt. So,
well, for more context, so we played the show. I'm pretty sure we ended up playing it about 5 a.m. or something, and then I think we stayed at that club for a bit, and then we went to a rooftop day party in Miami, which I don't know what time that started. That probably started at like 7 a.m. And I think we were up there for a little bit until about 10 a.m. And then at some point I flew the coop and I don't know where I went.
So we had a very strict itinerary to stick to, because we had to be a certain place at a certain time. And I'd set alarms for everyone, because essentially I was that night's tour manager. And I was like, okay, we're going to be here at this time. We're going to have all our stuff ready. I think it was 2 in the afternoon or something. We're going to have all our stuff ready and we'll get in the car and I'll drive us. Cool. 1 in the afternoon, I'm trying to phone Matt and Adam being like, guys, where the fuck are you? And no one's answering until about 1:30. And Adam goes, hey, JJ. And I'm like, Matt, get the fuck back here. Adam, get the fuck back here. Where the fuck
That's right,
is
because
Matt?
we had to check into an Airbnb in Miami the next day. That's right.
Do you remember throwing things off the balcony, Matt? It was like
How you going, JJ?
70 floors high.
Sorry, my AirPods cut out then. I can
Anyway, and Adam's like, yeah, we've lost Matt. We don't know where he's been for like the last 5 hours. Can't find him. And we were literally driving to the Airbnb without Matt. And we just, it's like in a desert, it just comes over the horizon. And we thought he was coming over the horizon, but he wasn't. He was just crawling. No. It was
Hey,
okay.
guys, where have you been?
He was like, JJ, whose car is this? It's like, whose car do you think it is, Matt? Get in. It was probably one of the most, first time I ever tried lobster. That was that night. And also,
yeah, that was really nice.
The whole cast of that TV show Ballers was in the restaurant. Remember?
Yeah, that was really nice of the venue. They, as part of the booking for us to play at the club, they put us up for dinner at the W Hotel, which was awesome. And I said to JJ, "This is your time to shine, mate. Get to the lobster."
So this
Get
is
all of the expensive things.
this is the thing. So obviously you're very popular DJ, and not many people will be in a situation in their lives that you live. What is that even like? You know, you go into gigs and they pay for things and you find yourself in these amazing places. When was that? I mean, for me, like if that happened to me, I'd be like, holy shit, is this actually happening? I imagine you're kind of used to it now because you do it all the time. But what was it like the first time you?
I mean, it's definitely something that we're always appreciative of. And people's hospitality, like, you know, goes a long, long way, and we're always super appreciative of it. It's, I mean, I guess if you think about it technically on paper, and I say this in the most grateful way of it, like all these things are business expenses. Like if you're a, you know, multi-million-dollar strip club in Miami, you know, you've got a deal with the W Hotel. That's where you put your artists when they stay. And, you know, everything from the accommodation to the food and the travel expenses, it's all tax write-offs, it's all expenses. Like, I guess that's just part and parcel of, you know, and I guess for the average person, you know, those are things where, you know, you would normally save up a lot of money and go on a nice holiday with your partner or something and book. But, you know, I guess those sorts of businesses, like the high-end hotels and the high-end restaurants and the high-end nightclubs and entertainment, like they rely on, I guess, a lot of people to, you know, spend big bucks to go there. And to get those people in, they book entertainers like us. And I guess part of it is expensing all those things. So, like I said, we're very grateful for it. But I guess if you think about it from a business perspective, it's kind of just part and parcel of the
part of the fee almost, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's not just about the cash transferred. It's also about putting you up in the whole experience.
Yeah, the currency changes when the situation changes. So it's like, you know, it's some guy who works 9 to 5 on 50K a year hasn't gone out and gone, boys, here's a $2,000 a night hotel. It's like the hotel, it doesn't cost them anything to expense the room for the night to put us in. So, you know, the value and the currency of the thing that you're consuming changes based on, you know, the situation. But like I said, we're also super appreciative of it, and we've definitely seen some things and experienced some things which we're very, very lucky. I know one of the I think I've told JJ about this. One of the gigs we had in Thailand was super, super surreal. We played a couple of shows in Phuket, and part of the deal was that we would play one show for free on a Wednesday night, I think, and another show at a discounted rate, but we would get to stay in some super nice accom. And the accom they put us in was in just out of Phuket, and it was a private villa, and the on-season rate for that villa was $75,000 a night.
Oh my!
What
God.
do you mean?
Yeah, it's literally like Justin Bieber specs. Like I can't see a reason why any normal person would ever stay somewhere like that.
Well, the title of this week's episode is $75,000 a night accommodation.
It's just
base backpacker's future right there.
weird things, and you kind of, you know. And it also makes you like, it puts things in perspective, and it makes you really think about things. Like when you're sitting there and you're laying in a bed and you've got your own private pool and this, and someone's telling you that that's the value on that. You look around and you're like, who puts that value on this? Like who's to decide that that's what this is worth? You know, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
But look, yeah, like I said, it makes you appreciate everything. And yeah, it's something interesting too, as well, about the thing we do for a job, I guess, is that we we do a lot of transit for the thing that we do. So if we play a show in Asia, for example, we might spend 35 hours in transit just to perform for 1 hour on stage. So it is very interesting, I mean, while we do get, paid quite well for the job that we do, if you look at it on an hourly perspective, it's interesting because, sometimes you can spend, like I said, 20, 30 hours in transit just to be on a stage for 1 hour.
I found that really interesting with obviously MK, Mark Kitchen. And he did a little video diary of like him, what his life's like behind the scenes, because obviously a lot of people see these DJs having this great time and playing to thousands of people, and kind of a bit like the question I asked you earlier was like, oh, what's it like? Because we'll never experience that ourselves. But so he did something. It was something like he played for the BBC. The BBC do Radio 1 do their own festivals. So I think he played at one of their festivals, and then like everyone's like, he plays his finishing set, and everyone's like, oh, he's probably gonna go off to party now. He didn't know. He finishes set, says goodbye. Then got in a taxi, the taxi took him to the airport. Then he had to get on a plane and go to Ibiza. Then I think he played in Ibiza and okay, well, maybe he's going to start partying now in the place, which is party. He didn't. He then got on another plane, and do you know what I mean? It's just like... Yeah,
I think people sometimes might forget that the person whose job is responsible to put on the party is probably not the one who actually parties. It's the other way around. I think that's one thing that Adam and I are both very grateful for with 2020 has been that it's been a chance for us to have a break, and a much needed break. I think that, asking the question like, what's it really like? Well, the truth is that sometimes mentally it can be quite straining, and it's a very unbalanced hot and cold situation to be in. When you're on a stage in front of 10,000 people and then 30 minutes later you're in a hotel room by yourself and it's dead silence. I think that sort of hot and cold constantly every week happening, I don't think that's amazing for your mental health at all.
So what I want to relate to that was me and JJ DJ, but like on a far lesser scale.
What are you talking about, Dave? We DJ to sometimes tens of people.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say though. But I'd be like, when I was DJing at Poison, and like Poison was a cool little club, and even Next Level as well. And like for me, that was a lot of people for me to play.
Well, here's something maybe you can relate to. So like, when you're DJing, say in Melbourne, and you're playing, having a great time, and the crowd's there, you're vibing, everything's great. But then, say for example, you go home, you're laying in bed, and maybe your ears are ringing a little bit because you've been playing loud music, and you're just laying there in silence. It's like that complete juxtaposition from the environment you've just been in, whether it's on that scale or even playing a festival, the principle's the same. It's a very weird thing.
Mentally jarring almost.
That's what I was trying to say. I'm only playing to like, hundreds of people, not like thousands or
still
tens of thousands.
Exactly.
But it was like for me, when I finished my set, which would be an hour, it was very hard for me to just... my heart's racing, the adrenaline's pumping. Yeah. I then want to send it and get, but it's just like sometimes you can't do that every weekend. It's not healthy. And
I think then on top of that, when you add on top of it things like travel and flights and logistics, like you only need to fly twice, maybe 3 times hungover to realize that that's a bad idea. So doing that for a living, you very quickly realize.
Anyone that's ever done that Ibiza back to the UK flight will know exactly.
It's the most quiet flight ever. Like no one says a fucking word.
There's nothing more polar opposite than the flight going out to Ibiza and the flight going back. That's 2 different things.
I was
going to ask, so surely the one to Ibiza would be like awesome, right? Everyone's hyped up.
But not for the air hostesses or the air staff. They're just fucking sit down, shut up. We're not serving alcohol. But it says it on your menu. No, fuck off. On the way back.
Are there nice flight routes that do that route? Because I could think of nothing worse than being on a fucking Flybe or some shit coming back from. That'd be awful.
Oh, no, there's not. Nah. Have you ever been on a flight to Ibiza, Dave? Have you ever been to Ibiza, first of all?
I used to go pretty much every year, yeah.
Have you ever been on a flight to Ibiza that didn't end in a fight?
I've seen some pretty fucking wild things on a flight to Ibiza. Like.
I've seen a man literally in the seat next to me pull out a bag of cocaine from his ass. I'm not kidding.
That's literally so good.
No word of a lie.
He couldn't just wait till he got there to tuck in.
pulled it out, and then he had
you
the
want a
cheek to
bump?
go, no, thank you. Goodbye.
Wow.
But I've seen some big fights on flights to Ibiza.
It's a strange old place, Ibiza. It's one of my favorite places in the world. But yeah, it's definitely. I try and stay and play the Bossa. I don't think I ever say that right, but San Antonio was. It's not a place I like.
I actually saw a video last night of Brussels Airport when Tomorrowland's on, and it's like a full blown rave. They have DJs in the airport, and it's all.
That's
really.
But that's the way it should be. Like that's what people are going there for. Why would you not be doing that?
Yeah, I've never understood that. Airports, I guess, there's a lot of regulations, but they're very clinical places, and they're very like very dull places. And they shouldn't be. They should be fun.
Yeah.
Well, that's where there's nothing more exciting than when you're in the airport going on your holiday destination. I mean, I think everyone will agree with me. That first pint you order in that bar is one of the greatest tasting pints, or whatever, that first drink, whatever you drink. It's a very exciting time. So yeah.
In your mate's case, a half pint.
Yeah.
I'll have 14 half pints.
I'm going on holiday. Splashing the cash. But no, it's I kind of agree. Why wouldn't you do that?
I think in 10 years' time, when me and Adam look back at it all, we'll have very, very interesting experiences to look back on and very interesting stories to tell. But I think it is a old life.
One of them will definitely be your number one at Triple J's Top 100.
I reckon you've got to make that happen. We should make it happen. If you're listening, make it happen.
All you have to do is very simple. Go on the Triple J website, Hottest 100, vote for Mashd'n'Kutcher. Vote for them only because I do want my $1,000. But Matt, I've been thinking about this. I'll be with you when this happens.
You will.
This could be a good night out. This could be very interesting.
$1,000 can disappear very quickly.
So this could be wonderful, guys. I'm very much looking forward to it. Matt, I think
what's very interesting is that you're actually one of three people who I'll be with on the same night who have each put a decent wager on that. So like that could be myself, big night.
Cal.
Yeah, there's another one of our mates from Brisbane here who has as well. So that could be an absolute stormer of a night.
We'll wait until after this.
I'm cancelling my flight.
We'll wait until after this call. But if we sorted out what's going on that night.
Well, you know what? If we haven't yet, but I'm just thinking as well. If it's still at $6 odds now, it's actually still not a bad time to put, just throw 20 on there. Like,
yeah, still what? 120.
Because the thing is, it's like I'm just trying to think about it logistically, like betting on a horse, right? So like I might throw a multi on, I don't know, something, and I don't really have much inside information as to how that's going to play out. Whereas I can tell you guys and listeners of the podcast, over the next 3 to 4 weeks, I'm going to campaign really, really hard to get that to number one. So if you know that that's going to be campaign,
and of course you'll go play at someone's house, yeah.
I mean,
but here's the thing: where you were saying there's strict rules, so campaigning for it, you'll have to be careful about how.
All I'm going to do really is I'm just going to ask people to vote for it. And the thing is, which I think kind of works in our favor, is that we've got so the first Get on the Beers video that we remixed him came out in April, and then there was probably a new video that kind of kicked off and went viral about every 4 or 5 weeks after that, from April till now. So every one of those videos, there's thousands and thousands of people that commented on that. So it's just a case of sitting down, taking the time, just replying to those comments and going, hey guys, if you got around the song, give it a vote. So you've got thousands of people there who got around the song. I mean, surely if 1 in every 10 of them I ask votes for it.
Yeah, and if all 4 of our listeners, I mean, surely.
Every vote counts. Every vote counts.
Every vote does count. Matt, I feel like we've taken up enough of your time today. But has anyone got any fun news stories for us this week? Has anyone prepared anything?
Shit.
I heard something phenomenal. Something really good. So, penguins.
Yes.
Not personally.
The animal. Yes. Yeah. So Chinese, the language of Mandarin, when it is written down, uses symbols. What do you think the symbols mean that come out as the word penguin in Mandarin? Anyone?
He's Googling it. I have no idea.
Business goose. Business and goose. That is the two.
Business goose.
Oh, it's in a tuxedo. That's why. It's ready for
a penguin is a business goose. And I love that. I think that is one of the best things I've heard in a long time. Are you Googling something fun, Matt? What have you got?
I've got a fun news story for you. I'd like to participate in this segment. I enjoy it.
Yeah, go for it.
So this year, the Vatican Darth Vader nativity scene gets the early thumbs down. So St. Peter's Square in the Vatican has hosted a few unorthodox nativity scenes over the years, but this season's entry containing Darth Vader and the Mandalorian has received so many terrible reviews that it looks like it's being closed off.
Yeah, right.
I am looking this up right now.
I'm not really sure. This year's modernist larger-than-life display, which has appeared. What the hell is that?
It's terrible. It's not great. It's a solid 1 out of 10. Not good. Yeah. Just Google Darth Vader Vatican. What does Darth Vader? So what does Vader mean? Anyone?
Is this a Star Wars question? Which, by the way, has anyone been watching The Mandalorian?
Not yet, but I'll catch up to it. But Vader, I believe, I'm just going to double check this before I say it.
Nah, just say you're all about the fake news. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it.
But I think, it's in Dutch, sorry. Vader in Dutch means father. So that's where Darth Vader comes from. And that's why people of another language knew that that's who he was to look before that happens. There you go.
Well, it won't be the first time some scary guy has been going down in the Vatican.
And with that, it's the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a lovely episode. Thank you so much, Matt, for getting on the beers with us, even though you didn't drink any. But we will have you on again, hopefully with Adam, to actually have a few drinks. You know what? I've got a feeling that New Year is coming up. New Year's coming up, and you do have some spare time at New Year. We could record one for the future.
I'm getting very jealous of this.
It has been a pleasure.
Yeah. Well, we'll let you say goodbye last, Matt, but as a goodbye from me, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching and listening.
And it is a goodbye from me. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me. I wish you a speedy recovery in Vietnam down there in the bottom of the corner. And thanks for having me, boys.
No worries at all. Just as a last minute reminder, please go and vote for Get On The Beers by Mashd'n'Kutcher for Triple J's Top 100. I want my $1,000. Thank you very much. Goodbye.